He wants to grab it.
Oh, bang, bang, bang. Sweet, sweet. Easy peasy.
Oh, thank you. Easy peasy. About to get
Sweet.
on the boat.
Sweet.
Sweet as. We're getting on the boat. Getting on the boat. Going back to Welly. Sweet as. Good on you.
This is our farewell to the South Island and our return to the North Island.
After about 2 months on the South Island, it was time to return to the North Island. This time, returning with the vehicle that we acquired during our travels down south in Christchurch. We were heading back to Wellington because we were meeting our friend George, who was flying in from Canada to hang out with us for a couple of days. He would be the first face from home that we would see in about 3 months. Aboard the ship, we encountered a band of jolly musicians whose love for improvised music was outweighed for their disdain for taking baths. And let me tell you, we didn't have to hear their music to know that they were nearby. You could smell them coming. The smell of sweaty, unwashed body was too much to handle, so I went outside to catch some air. And sure enough, the music followed me. Luckily, the heavy winds of the Cook Strait were strong enough to blow the wafting, arid, putrid smell down to Antarctica, where they probably incapacitated some penguins in the process. 3.5 hours later, we were back in the nation's capital. And this would be my first time driving in Welly. It felt like coming home. After being delayed in Australia for over a day, George finally arrived in Wellington, New Zealand. We played the tour guide for our friend, taking him to all the spots that we became familiar with during our initial 2-week stay in Wellington. The Mount Vic Chippery was our first stop for a more tailored approach towards fish and chips. And after that, we went to Eva Beva for some drinks. And coincidentally, that same night, the city of Wellington put on a fireworks display to celebrate the Chinese New Year. While touring some wineries in Martinborough, we ran into some horses. We visited the famed location of Rivendell from Lord of the Rings. And lastly, while we were hiking Mount Victoria, we came across a really fun rope swing. And I think George had a lot more fun than I did, as he put on his best Miley Cyrus impression.
Breaking ball!
Whoa!
Oh, crazy!
Your phone.
Whoa, crazy!
Oh!
With that, we bid farewell to George, a comforting face from our true home being Montreal back in Canada, and it was back to just Ling and myself. We continued our adventure heading north up the North Island, our next stop, the Kapiti Coast.
Breaking ball! Whoa, crazy!
Oh!